And everybody goes to the bathroom when it's time to do a bass solo. I wouldn't go to the bathroom on this bass solo. It kept me there. It's just really well done. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. Stay Clean is from Motorhead's second studio album, Overkill, released in 1979. Now, sometimes your favorite bands are how you find out about other bands. Metallica were a huge example of that for me, and they are how I first heard of Motorhead. But I always felt like I should have been into them a bit more. I just never really was. I've always appreciated them from afar. I, of course, have massive respect for the late Lemmy Kilmister and his profound influence on rock and roll, music culture, but I just never owned any of their records. I've, of course, heard Ace of Spades and a few of those staples, but not much else. And I keep getting comments, when are you doing Motorhead? You're a bass channel. I know. I went through the comments. I looked a bit more. I saw Stay Clean mentioned quite a lot. I get the feeling it's a bit of a deeper cut, so excited to listen to this band for the first time in many, many years. So without further ado, here's Stay Clean from Motorhead. Rickenbacker. What a badass. He's always looked so freaking cool. All right. I kind of watch his technique there because, I've seen some clips of him over the years, not many, but someone once told me that he angled the mic kind of down to where he looked up due to stage fright. And it's kind of weird. I feel like I know some trivia about Motorhead without knowing really much of their music. So I've always wondered if that was true. You should let me know. I'm going to go back here. Sounds like we're down-tuned. I do remember learning Ace of Spades a long time ago. I'm going to do my down tuner to be down here in E flat. Now we're in the ballpark. Really like that chord the guitar keeps hitting. I think it's just a normal power chord or maybe a minor chord, but it's a good tone. It blends really well with his bass sound. I know he's always typically had a really fuzzy, kind of grindy bass sound. But one thing I've come to learn about reviewing bass players here on the channel, I've kind of been hyper aware of reading a bit of history about them and what instrument they might have come from before bass. A lot of people end up on bass after the fact of maybe drums or guitar. You have guys like Mark King, who started as a drummer and took that kind of approach to bass. Then you have a lot of other players who started on guitar and then kind of ended up on bass. And I was reading a bit about his bio that he was a guitar player and kind of got pushed into being a bass player really quickly for one of his bands growing up. So when I read that stuff, I'm kind of looking at technique and going, is there some overlap here that he's kind of brought from that school of thought? And it really does look like it. I remember remarking about this on the bass player for Dinosaur Jr., Lou Barlow, that, the picking technique is kind of where it all shows up. And if you kind of watch his technique here, just kind of going through that kind of syncopated riff, that kind of thing. Watch right here. Yeah, just kind of in the arm and wrist angle, it looks like he would be strumming a guitar. And what's interesting is somebody like me who's I didn't play guitar first. I just went right to bass. I really still can't play much guitar today. But when you go to pick up a pick, I'm not thinking about it like a guitar player. I'm thinking about it like I'm playing finger style, but with a pick. So my picking tends to be a bit more robotic and more precise, kind of like my fingers would be. I would pick up a pick and kind of go. And I'm not kind of thinking in that washing wide motion. Whereas when a guitar player comes to bass, they kind of carry over that same school of thought with the picking approach. And I think it brings a whole different energy to the way they articulate and play. So I'm just kind of seeing that. I'm kind of glad I picked the music video. I can kind of see him play it. But just something I'm kind of looking out for, having just read that in his bio. Like, what does he bring to bass from guitar in that school of thought? It's a really different energy. Same when drummers pick up bass. They tend to be a bit more percussive and think like a drummer on bass. And the greatest thing about bass is that it can take all of that. The bass is it has so much creative freedom. You can really have these different schools of thought, funky slap players, chordal kind of guitar approaches. That's what I love about the instrument. Okay, just had to point that out. Let's keep it going. Can hear his tone a bit better now that the guitar has gone to more of a single line. But you can hear his tone be a bit fuzzier here. Kind of opens up. Really like that line the guitar player does here. I'm just trying to see if he kind of mirrored that. Right here. Yeah. It's catchy, very lyrical. I don't think he doubles that though. Yeah, see, even the way he kind of grabs the neck, it's very guitar-like. I don't know, I just think it brings a whole different kind of school of thought and translates to the bass. The whole way he's just kind of tackling the instrument. And that's such a unique thing to him. And I think he's even playing more than one note there. And that little guitar thing I was just pointing out, I think he's kind of just going octaves. Kind of get this wider strumming. Okay. Okay. I've never heard this. Hell yeah. Oh. Okay, that must have been the reason this was requested. I was like, this sounds like the other Motorhead songs I've heard. Very rock and roll. You know, perfect rock and roll vibe. Didn't know anything about a bass solo. Okay, let's go back and hear that again. I actually like how organically it got into that shreddier bit. I thought it was just him kind of subdividing the previous riff, you know, taking a vocal break, you know, adding in some muted notes, ghost notes, just kind of giving it more intensity. But it was actually a really organic incline right into the solo. Very tasteful. Very, very good. Or that start. Yeah, it's kind of blending with the guitar riff here. A really smooth handoff into the part. Dun-dun-dun-dun. You can just hear that heavy-handedness, which might be something he brought from, you know, maybe the way he started. I just love all those little dang-a-dang-dang-dang. It's almost kind of funky. Almost sounds like a finger player with those staccato kind of articulations, but he's just got that, maybe some palm muting in there, which is kind of a foreign thing to me. Again, not coming from guitar, just palm muting was a really bizarre thing for me to get down. I just didn't think in that way, being a finger player. So those are the kinds of things that carry over that can really be beneficial into how stuff like this comes across. Let's see. Yeah, really landing there. I know there's the pickup cover, but it's probably a big part of his sound. Yes. That could have gone so much shreddier. I think it's just very on brand for his playing style. It's got a bit more subdivision. It's a bit heavy-handed, a bit louder, a bit more aggressive, but it still kind of retained the essence of the riff we've been on. And I think that's just really good, tasteful restraint to do a bass solo, but not get too far out into outer space from the original vibe of the rock and roll feel of the song. Good solo crafting here. Some bass players would just go to town, and everybody goes to the bathroom when it's time to do a bass solo. I wouldn't go to the bathroom on this bass solo. It kept me there. It's just really well done. He kind of brought those same diddle vibes up there. Kind of ended it bluesy, kind of the way he started. Had those kind of dead notes on the way down. Okay, one more time. It's a big moment in the song. Gotta play it with fingers. Smooth. So you see, the only proof. Yeah. I want your eyes in the way you hear the truth. Don't be scared, learn to win. Although they're always gonna tell you it's a sin. In the end, you're on your own, and there's no one that can tell you that you're wrong. Stay clean, stay clean, stay clean, stay clean. I didn't really hear it until his bass tone was a little exposed there, but I think instead of playing the single note thing I've been doing, I think he's actually kind of strumming the open A there. You could really see it when I got close up here on this shot. I know this is a music video, so I take some of these things with a grain of salt, but I feel like he'd play it pretty accurately to how he recorded it. Yeah, this part, you can kind of hear that open A ringing and almost even see it. So you see, the only proof. Yeah. Don't be scared, learn to win. Although they're always gonna tell you it's a sin. In the end, you're on your own, and there's no one that can tell you that you're wrong. Stay clean, stay clean, stay clean, stay clean. It's really hard. Tear it up. Up. That's music video. You see him do the snare roll and you don't hear it. Little stuff like that, but I at least think, recreating the parts visually as close as possible. So I would imagine it's pretty close to the way he would have played it on the record. Right here. Hell yeah. So now that I've really gotten into punk here on the channel, I kind of see the bigger picture about how Motorhead was punk, they were metal, and they really bridged a lot of those same sounds. I think for me, once I got into Metallica and went all in and found the Garage Days and learned about other bands, I was just pursuing the heaviest music I could find. And at the time, Motorhead was a bit more softer rock compared to like thrash metal, just in the production. So I feel kind of bad I just missed out on a Motorhead era as a bass player, but again, you couldn't ignore the guy being a metal fan. I always saw pictures and clips and documentaries, and he always looked so freaking cool. And he always had this kind of blasé nonchalance to the way he performed. It was very loose. Probably some whiskey in the mix, but he just embodies rock and roll. I feel like he's one of the earlier players to take that more aggressive, fuzzy approach, along with guys like Geezer and such. So those are the reasons I respect him a ton. But a really big sounding three-piece, they embody the rock and roll sound, and I just really didn't expect a bass solo of that nature. It was really well done, and it was so had a swagger. It just sounded like a Lemmy bass line, but higher with a bit more intensity. So really like the organic nature of it. But thanks again to those of you who turned me on to this track. If you'd like to support this channel further, come find us on Patreon. I do full albums over there. We've done a lot of punk albums so far, and it's just been a blast. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you're subscribed. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.